You know how I said a couple months ago that I was working on a James Bond video? Well, here it is. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. I love the James Bond franchise. I love the action, the cars, the breathtaking locales, the girls, the henchmen, the megalomaniac villains, the double entendres, and of course, the alcoholism that goes unchecked. I played the James Bond video games, I read some of Fleming's books, and I gorged myself on the Bond box set collection that my dad had. I couldn't get enough of that bastion of post-imperialism with a misogynistic attitude towards women and a real drinking problem. Despite how good he looks with a martini glass. And don't get me started on Omega watches and Heineken. But seriously, the first real movie that I went to go see in theaters that I remember is a James Bond film. And since then, I was hooked. As there is another James Bond film coming out pretty soon called No Time to Die, I'd like to do something fun. A game, if you will. I'd like to compare the Bonds of my lifetime. Their work as a whole, movie by movie. Both Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig did 4 Bond movies each, so I will be judging them on a very specific criteria. From 1 to 5, I will be judging the opening montage sequences, the action set pieces, the Bond girls and allies of Bond, the henchmen and villains, and the plots to the movies. But this is my channel, so I'm not just going to be doing an arbitrary ranking. No, I'm going to have them duke it out, movie by movie, putting Brosnan and Craig head to head to see who is the ultimate 007. So let's go. I know you're wondering, me looking like this, talking about James Bond? Let's see, what I'm going for is Lazenby, circa On Her Majesty's Secret Service film premiere. Round 1, fight! To kick this off, God damn it. If I go chronologically, it's gonna be Casino Royale versus GoldenEye, the first one, and couldn't you have made that the goddamn title card? You know what? Scrap it. Like Missy Elliott said, flip it and reverse it, alright? We're gonna do something else. I can. Says me because it's my show and I make the goddamn rules. The finale of this grand spectacle can't be Die Another Day versus Spectre. Yeah, but you're a dog and you don't know shit. 2002's Die Another Day was directed by Lee Tamahori, a New Zealander director who is best known for films such as XXX State of the Union, Next, and an intriguing 2011 film, The Devil's Double. The film was written by James Bond staples Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. The story follows Bond trying to find a mole in the British intelligence service who betrayed him in North Korea on a previous assignment. The Die Another Day opening montage is set to the song Die Another Day by Madonna. And it's... Fleming, your alcoholism. Not great. After Bond starts getting tortured by this sexy North Korean torture lady, we get this clapping and we get a bunch of scorpions where the title is prominently placed in the middle. This could symbolize how Bond is in a dangerous place and he's surrounded by danger, but that happens in every movie. This is a fucking spy movie. He's a damn spy. His job is to be in dangerous areas surrounded by people who would kill him if they knew what he was up to. But it's dumber than that. It's not a metaphor. He's literally being tortured by scorpion venom in this sequence. Then we get your sexy ladies, specifically a sexy lava lady and a sexy ice lady. And they're doing a bunch of dances while footage of Bond being tortured happens in the reflection of a diamond or in the reflection of the midsection of the ice lady. The best opening montages of Bond films are avant-garde sequences that try to seamlessly bring in the plot and the themes of the movies to the music. But this one is kind of nothing. What does it say? What does it accomplish? Torture sucks? Yeah, I know. But the imagery isn't interesting enough to make the audience react with something more than between a shrug and an audible sigh. 1 out of 5. When people talk about how terrible this movie is, they talk about how bad the action is and how terrible the CGI holds up. But strictly from this opening sequence, I gotta say, I'm kind of into it. It's not bad. There's practical effects, cars getting blown up, and a really fun hovercraft chase sequence in a minefield. Plus, after seemingly killing the bad guy, Bond gets one of his nice one-liners.
Saved by the bell.
So right now I'm thinking it might not be as bad as all that. Then we get to the Cuba sequence. It's fine. Creative way to make an exit. That's about the memorable thing I can say about it. But then there's the fencing sequence. It's weird. It gets really intense out of nowhere. And Bond decides to jump onto a chair, and it looks rough. And then there's the laser sequence, which isn't really fun because it's basically a 49-year-old man flailing around while CGI lasers are just spraying around where he isn't. Good kill, though. Then there's this monstrosity. Look, I don't want to have to explain why the CGI is bad. That's not what this channel is. Or that the fact that the frustrating green screen is the reason why the action doesn't work. It's not. It's because there's no thrill to it. The film tries to toe the line between campy and tense. And all we get is this tonal dissonance, which is just a complete mess. I don't even hate the invisible car and the ensuing chase. That's not where this thing jumped the shark. It actually kind of works. Bond makes use of all of the car's gadgets, and the roof ejector seat is a really fun little gag that works. It's a spin on something we've seen before. But after seeing the surfing a glacier scene, you can't come back from that. The final snooze of a fight takes place in a plane where Bond is fighting Graves and Jinx is fighting Frost and we're all trying to stop World War III or whatever. It just... The sword fighting's fun, I guess, if you like that. The plane gets destroyed by a space laser and... Wait, is Graves literally... He's holding onto the plane while he's dangling outside. Do I like this movie? No. It's stupid. It's kind of fun. A shrug. 2 out of 5. Fine. Halle Berry plays the Bond girl of the film, Jinx. Her introduction mirrors the iconic introduction of the first Bond girl ever, Honey Rider, in Dr. No, bikini and knife combo. And I gotta say, she might be the reason to watch the movie? Question mark? She gets a lot of hate from a lot of Bond fanboys, but I don't see a problem with her. They were trying to set up a spin-off franchise following Jinx as the main character, so she gets to be a little bit more proactive than your run-of-the-mill Bond girl. She's got her own agenda, which initially puts her in the maybe she's evil category, but she's just too charming and fun for us to think that she's really evil. She does have her chances to kick ass, but she does need to be saved a time or two too many in this film. John Cleese fills the role of Q after the tragic loss of Desmond Llewellyn, staple of the franchise, and he wears his pompous Britishosity to full effect. Samantha Bond gets done dirty by the film, but she gets to have a bit of fun. Judi Dench's M is here, but she kinda doesn't have anything to do. Honestly, the Chinese intelligence officer who's in one scene, or the deep cover British agent in Cuba, are more substantial to the plot than M is. But at least they gave her more things to do than Michael Madsen. But the main ally is definitely Jinx. And I'm not gonna say she's my favorite Bond girl, as you will find out for sure on your own, if you watch this whole series, that she is not. But she's definitely higher than I thought. 4 out of 5. Wow, a surprise. The villain of this film is Colonel Tan Sun Moon, played by William Yun Lee. But you might be thinking, hey, didn't that guy get killed in the opening sequence? Yes, but no, not really. Because in the third act, we find out that British billionaire Gustav Graves is actually Colonel Moon after undergoing gene therapy, which changes him into a different person. As Graves, he's got swagger, he's got eccentricity, and he's got diamonds. He even says that he models his appearance and persona on Bond. We see that he has a bit of a anger streak because we see him doing martial arts to a punching bag, only to open up the punching bag and find an anger therapist in there. All well and good, kind of a crazed megalomaniac villain, perfectly set up, but his plan is nonsensical. He gets a space laser. Technically it's a satellite that bounces the sun's rays back down to the Earth, but for all intents and purposes, it is a space laser, and he wants to blast it through the DMZ to take over South Korea. That's stupid. What is it with billionaires in space? But, okay, what else is there? We get a nice heel turn with Rosamund Pike as Miranda Frost. Holy shit, she is 22 in this movie. As an undercover agent, turned out to be double agent. And Rick Yoon's Zhao is actually pretty good, and having the diamonds still stuck in his face, it's a nice henchman look. Especially after the failed gene therapy session makes him all bald and pale. Solid look. imposing figure. I like it. Plus, you've got Mr. Kill and a German scientist, but it's just not enough to get me past that lackluster plan. Look at him, looking like a damn Power Rangers villain. 2 out of 5. This plot is a mess. You've got genetic therapy technology, whatever that means, that can change people into other people, and a bad guy who definitely died in that first scene, but somehow is just back to life and we're just supposed to believe it happened. And not only did he survive, he became a famous billionaire who's on covers of magazines and meeting with the Queen. The story goes from North Korea to China to Cuba to UK to Iceland and then back to North Korea. Which, yes, traveling is absolutely a part of the James Bond franchise. But we don't know who the bad guy is, and we don't even know what the stakes are until halfway through the movie. The script is a mess, but it definitely has some fun one-liners in there. Honestly, I feel like this movie had too many ingredients that it tried to force into itself. A soft first film into a new franchise that gets abandoned. A 40-year celebration of Bond, so a bunch of ham-fisted references to older films. And a spy movie that was trying to be both campy and serious. This weird tone, this strange relic of pop culture ultimately failed because the fun post-Cold War Bond couldn't continue in its same over-the-top antics in a post-Austin Powers franchise and a post-9/11 world, as geopolitics are actually serious again, and it's not just the Ruskies we have to worry about. 2 out of 10. So the grade for Die Another Day is 11 out of 25. That's honestly better than what I thought it was going to be. Let's go to Spectre. 2015 Spectre is the 4th entry in Daniel Craig's era of James Bond, and the second to be directed by Sam Mendes. Mendes was the first real heavy hitter for a filmmaker to take over the Bond franchise, and he brought respect to its name with Skyfall. What else do you expect with a filmography of Road to Perdition, American Beauty, and Jarhead? The film was written by Purvis and Wade, Gladiator writer John Logan, and Jez Butterworth, of Cruella, Ford v Ferrari, and Black Mass fame. Let's see how it shakes out. After the utter brilliance that was Adele's Skyfall, they decided to double down with Sam Smith essentially doing their version of Adele, with Spectre's theme, Writings on the Wall. It's got all the hits in it. It's got the naked ladies, the surreal images, and naked Bond. Didn't know we wanted that, but we do. There's a lot of good stuff here. The octopus being Spectre's logo, and a thematic representation of the organization. The tentacles wrapping around the silhouettes is a very striking image. And the Spectre boardroom is here, which gives us foreshadowing to a key moment in the film. And Bond is surrounded by the faceless masses, maybe friend, maybe foe. But the problem is the song is just trying to be Skyfall without Adele's bombast. It's somber, but instead of having moments of booming energy, Smith brings the energy down. It's a solid theme and it has a lot of finality to it, which gives the film weight. And it's not bad, but nope, we will get to that later. 3 out of 5. The action set pieces in this film are very grand. And by grand, I mean in scale. The opening of the film takes place during the Dia de los Muertos parade in Mexico. And the amount of background actors in this one-take sequence is staggering. I know most of them are CGI, but still, the amount of work to do this, it's impressive. But the end of the sequence kind of turns into a bit of a CGI mess, but I'm willing to forgive it if we get the thrilling action that I expect from this franchise. Bond is trying to kill a bad guy, causes a building to fall down, grabs a ring, and takes over a helicopter. The effects aren't nearly as bad as... but the green screen and the CGI helicopter are very apparent. We do get a nice gag of him falling from the top of a building and landing on a sofa, which is a nice tip of the cap to the past of Bond franchise and not being afraid to embrace some of the goofiness that comes with it. And only 13 short years after the invisible car do we finally get some car gadgets, and this car chase is very fun. You love to see it. And there is a fantastic midpoint action sequence, which is the real cream of the cream, when he chases a car flying a plane in the Austrian Alps. Eventually, the plane loses its wings, so it becomes a big old sled. The shootout at the desert facility is a bit lackluster, but I will forgive it due to the fact that Bond just got his brain drilled into and is a little out of it. One thing Craig brings to all of these movies is the believability that this brute of a man can accomplish the action feats that he does.
No escape.
But if you really want to get to my inner James Bond fan, have a nice fight sequence on a train with a henchman. Second best in the franchise. 4 out of 5. Pretty good. One of the truly great things that this film does is allow for the supporting cast of MI6 employees to actually do things and fully make their characters their own. Ralph Fiennes as M is a perfect casting from the previous film, and he brings this energy of frustrated headmaster of a British boys' school. Naomi Harris and Ben Whishaw have made Moneypenny and Q, the staples of the Bond franchise, their own after their introductions in Skyfall. And they also get to help Bond on his espionage pursuits, helping Bond behind M's back during the course of the plot. But the tricky part is with the Bond girl, not Monica Bellucci, playing a woman that he widowed in the first scene. She is the first age-appropriate Bond girl we've had for a while, being 2 years older than Craig himself. She is still at her peak seductive form that she was in The Matrix 2. She makes the most of her brief appearance, and the audience is poorer that she doesn't appear later in the film. Now, the true issue is the character of Madeline Swan, played by Léa Seydoux. We are supposed to believe that this woman, who built her life to avoid the violence her father wrought onto the world, being a doctor, healing instead of murdering, who shows a visceral disdain for Bond in her first scene.
Don't think for one moment. This is where I fall into your arms.
Whose life is put in danger due to his actions, would fall in love with him so hard that they run off into the sunset together? This movie is essentially Stockholm Syndrome with extra steps. He saves her from Hinks and from Blofeld, 2 separate instances where her life was in danger because of her connection to James. We're supposed to buy that one train ride would make Bond and her fall so head over heels in love with each other, to the point where this line, "I'd recognize you anywhere," is a true and powerful statement. It's bad writing in a series that has a legitimately great romance to kick off Craig's era of Bond, and is a betrayal of Vesper Lynd's memory. It's nice you made her capable to handle a gun or decide to get into a fight every once in a while, but it's not enough. Where's the chemistry? Where's the passion? 2 out of 5. All you had to do, Eon, is have Christoph Waltz be Ernst Stavro Blofeld. It was a softball, a hanging curve. Hell, they practically put it on a fucking tee for you. Blofeld, the most iconic villain in the stable of villains of Bond movies. Bald head, scarred eye, dastardly plans, likes cats. He was literally stolen to be Dr. Evil. In the Austin Powers franchise, he is so synonymous with evil bad guy in spy movies. But you couldn't just let it be. You had to turn and make the James Bond franchise and the Austin Powers franchise into a fucking Ouroboros and make James be literally Ernst Stavro Blofeld's foster brother after James's parents die. And worse, they make Blofeld's motivations for his dastardly plans be Daddy wasn't there. That's terrible. The Venn diagram of the Austin Powers franchise and the James Bond franchise is now a fucking circle. Yeah, we get to see how he gets his iconic scar, but fuck off. But Dave Bautista as Hinks is a Perfect henchman. Classic. Great name, mostly silent. He's got metal blades in his thumbs, and carries a double-barreled pistol. Impractical, but iconic. 1 out of 5 for Batista exclusively. What a waste of a fucking henchman. Nope. No. I don't care. The plot of this one is inconsequential to analyze in any meaningful way. After the utter nonsense in the third act. Or, it's not even the third act, it's just the twist. I don't care that it has some of the best visual locales in all of the franchise. The Austrian Alps, Casablanca, some fucking crater desert. I want to like it. The love story with Swan is rushed, having her appear over an hour into the movie. The film is too damn long, clocking in at over 2.5 hours, and the Blofeld twist is atrocious. Oh, you think I'm talking about the Bond and him being brothers twist? No, there is another twist. It is this.
You came across me so many times, and yet you never saw me.
It's always been me, the author of all your pain.
Now, the thing about the Bond series is that it's reactionary to other popular action franchises. Blaxploitation was big in the 70s, so in 1973, you get Live and Let Die. Bond goes up against a bunch of voodoo bad guys, and the locations are Harlem, New Orleans, and the Caribbean. The 80s had a big wave of drug crime action films like Scarface. So in 1989's License to Kill, Bond goes after a drug lord. And the Craig-era Bonds might be the most problematic when it comes to this. Casino Royale is Batman Begins. Quantum of Solace is a Jason Bourne movie. Skyfall is The Dark Knight. Or did you think a facially scarred flamboyant bad guy whose plan was to get caught by the good guy was a coincidence? And in this one, the Bond franchise becomes an interconnected series like the MCU, making every bad guy in the previous movies
Le Chiffre, green, silver,
working for Blofeld all along, trying to make all of the movies tie in together. No. James Bond is great because every movie is a standalone, and you can just pop in a random James Bond movie and you don't have to know what the hell happened. Fans can have their headcanons and have every Bond exploit be done by the same person, but it is not required to watch every fucking Bond movie to appreciate a random Bond movie. Because the fans' headcanon is exactly that. Headcanon. Making every movie in this era of Bond lead up to a big bad who is not even hinted at in earlier movies, cheapens every other film that Daniel Craig has ever done, and I refuse to accept it. 0 out of 5. That brings Spectre to have 10 out of 25. Die Another Day ekes out a win for Brosnan. Why do I like this franchise? And this whole project has ballooned into something that's going to take a little more than just one video. So I'm going to cut it off here. Go round by round. So like, share, subscribe, and go in the comments and tell you which one of these two is your favorite Bond. Not the movies, because nobody's favorite movies are these two movies. Unless passionate Spectre fans tell me I'm wrong, but know, deep down, that you are wrong.